What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Bronx Pinstripe Show. I'm one of your hosts, Andrew Rotondi. The guy who's going to talk next is Scott Reinen. I love this. Every 312 episodes, we reintroduce ourselves just in case people are confused.
You didn't listen to what I said. You didn't read what I said. You didn't listen to what I said. You're just being an asshole.
I have not read jack shit over the past 6 weeks, dude.
The introduction for this show is completely completely influenced by the lack of Yankees success over the last 81 games, guys. That's what I'm going to attribute this to. 40-41 over the last 81 games. Thank you very much, Aaron Boone. Once again, we have a second half collapse of this team after starting out of the gate hot and getting us all excited with talented players. What's up, man?
Well, we were going to remind people that they can go watch us on the Bronx Pinstripe YouTube. Just search Bronx Pinstripes in YouTube. You'll find us there. We're doing all of our episodes there. We probably should have started video there back in 2016, but hey, it took us until 2023 to get that going. Better late than never. You can also still find us on audio, Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. They shut down Stitcher and Google Play, and so you can't listen there anymore. And I think our outro still says, go find us on Stitcher or Google Play, because you recorded that shit in 2015 and we haven't changed it 10 years later. 10 years later, we haven't changed a damn thing. We're
vintage.
Still going.
It's vintage at this point. It's a collector's item.
Anyway, yeah, I think the fact that the Yankees are below 500 over their last 81 games, which when we were talking about that just now, I was like, no, that can't be. 81 games is a big chunk, and the Yankees are 20 games over 500. So how is that even possible? But yeah, they're a game under 500 over the last 81 games, which dates back to the beginning of June. That's the entire summer.
And that's not just an arbitrary made-up number, too. 81 games is half of a baseball season. So you can actually point to that and say, that's a real number. That's half of a year. Maybe it's not exactly half of a year for this year, but it is half of a year. And when you look at that, and the only reason I think I realized that was when I was just cringing at every word that was coming out of Verdugo's mouth post-game yesterday, and was asked a question about the Yankees not doing well, and then the numbers were thrown out there by one of the reporters. I forget who it was, but last 81 games, obviously sub 500, last 26 sub 500. So last 3 series in a row lost to teams that they should beat. We chalked up. We were looking at August and maybe the beginning of September even as an opportunity. As an opportunity for the New York Yankees to actually, give themselves some room with the Orioles, because the Orioles have done everything possible to lose this division at this point. They just got their butts kicked by the White Sox yesterday, similar to what happened to the Yankees a couple weeks back. But they're giving every opportunity for the Yankees to peel away. I could say the same thing about the Orioles with the Yankee struggles, but we're on this side. And they're not taking advantage of any of it. And they're playing like assholes. Pardon my French. I know some people listen to this with children. Children, do not swear. Listen to your parents. Don't listen to me. They're just not taking advantage of it. And they're playing lackadaisical baseball, lazy baseball, uninspired baseball, lack of emergency baseball, lack of any type of urgency. And it drives me crazy when I watch that I can handle when teams lose, but when it starts bleeding into the effort, and you see it in multiple areas, and then the word vomit that comes out of their mouth afterwards, not just from Boone, but from everybody, it's really frustrating as a fan. It's really frustrating to watch.
Is there a specific quote from Verdugo you're thinking about? Because I listened to the clip as well. I mean, yeah. He did say we're judged on our wins and losses, and we just need to win. So of course we need to be better. But you talk is there something specific that caught your ear?
Yeah, absolutely. It was. And that was actually part of it. So first of all, just the tone of he was just
I just feel like that's his tone. That's just
I think he's just trying to act like Aaron Judge acts, and it doesn't work when you have a guy that's bad. Yeah, when you have a guy that's trying to be really calm, cool, and collected in a moment where he's not good, then it just feels different. And in that particular game, he was kind of dogging it down the first baseline. Not the first time we've seen it, not the second time we've seen it, not the fourth time we've seen it.
Won't be the last.
And
he was, by the way, one of the reasons why he was benched in Boston. Okay.
Right. Well, there's accountability in Boston with that manager. But Aaron Boone, when asked about, hey, does Verdugo feel, what's the deal? Is there something wrong with him? Does he not feel good? he's a little banged up. He's playing a little, he's playing through it a little bit. They ask Verdugo the same question. I feel fine. And let me tell you the problem I have with the answer that you just mentioned that Verdugo gave. I hate the answer. He said something about, he was asked the question, Boone had mentioned that they need to play better. And he said, the reporter asked Verdugo, do you agree? Do you need to play better? And he said exactly that. He said, we just need to win games. We need to find a way to scratch out wins, get 27 outs and win the game. I think we've been doing a pretty good job. Just seems like that one inning that gets away from us. So when I hear that, I hear about someone who's just talking about like, what do you want to do when you grow up? Oh, I want to be famous. I want to have a lot of people love me. And well, how do you get there? How do you do that? Well, I just want to be famous. It's like, there's nothing in between. Like, they really truly believe, because obviously this is the culture. And that's the problem that I have here. They believe that they do the things that they're doing currently, that they're going to win the game. And that there's just one little thing that's stopping them from doing that. One click is what he said. One click off from winning these games. But what you have here is an absolute lack of urgency. It's like a very relaxed vibe of like, hey, you know what? We're there. We're all good. We trust each other. It's going to happen. But it's not happening. And over the last 81 games, it hasn't happened. So there's no like New York Northeast edge to this team at all.
There's never been under Boone.
I know. And it's just like, I feel like it's becoming vocalized even more now with guys like Verdugo who just need to stop talking. But the fact that you believe that if you just go about your business doing the things that you're doing now, you're going to win those games. It's like they're trying to manifest wins here and don't realize that the lack of hustle down first baseline, the lack of continuity in the infield, the sloppiness in the field, all of the things that they're doing that just don't look good, the lack of concentration in multiple areas. Those things are fine. Which,
by the way, is not new. That's not like that's a new thing for this team. That is consistent.
I know, but Verdugo,
season in, season out.
This is Verdugo's one and only year, hopefully.
All he's doing is he's echoing
it's a culture.
His
he's
manager.
Assimilating to the
yes,
culture.
He's echoing his manager. He's echoing the players around him and the attitude they have in the club. Absolutely. I mean, they've been acting like their shit don't stink. Back to the days Boone took the job. They acted like they were coming off as the reigning World Series champions, even though they didn't even make the World Series in 2017. You want to say they were cheated out of it? Sure, whatever. But the fact of the matter is they haven't won jack shit, and they've acted like they've been the chosen ones the entire time. I forget what year it was when Boone said the league caught up to us. Was that 2019, 2020? Whatever year that was. Bro, what are you talking about? You haven't caught up to the league yet. The league hasn't caught up to you. It's been surpassing you every single season.
You know, when they're talking about the fact that they have a losing record over the last 81 or lost the last 3 and under 500 in the last 26. Like, those are 3 negative stats that were just thrown at you. Are you concerned about this? Understanding that there's less than a month left, and you know you're supposed to be finding your stride at this point. You know, as the getting ready for a push to win the division and go into the playoffs. Just no concern, no urgency, none. At this stage in the game in September, on September 5th, no urgency from this team and in the way that they talk about it. And you know, if they're talking about it behind the scenes in a different way, talk about it out in public. I don't want you to have this like lackadaisical approach to the way you're answering these questions. I want to understand that you care. I need to understand that you care. And the answers that he gave just made me feel like he doesn't give a shit. And he's extremely happy to be getting paid to play left field for the New York Yankees for this season, and getting paid well. Like, and that's all that really matters. I'm just out there to play baseball. They signed me to play baseball, so I'm playing baseball. Happy to be there.
Yeah, to your point about the Yankees never finishing strong, or at least that's a recent trend. You go back to 2022 when they had such a historic start to the season. They finished their last 81 games 41-40 that season, so just a game over 500. Last season, which we know is a dumpster fire, they finished 37-44. And so far since June 7th of this year, we know that the last 81 games they are below 500, but since June 7th of this year, the 2024 Yankees are 35-41. Like, these are not small sample sizes in seasons that they're a mediocre to bad team. And August was supposed to be the easy month. They got through the post All-Star break, they came out of the All-Star break playing well. They got through those couple of series, which sort of culminated with Philly on the road when they swept Philly. And it's like, okay, you got through it. You acquired Jazz Chisholm and Mark Leiter Jr. at the deadline. You played good baseball after the All-Star break. August should be a month you take off. And it's been the complete opposite against bad teams.
Yeah, it's an opportunity that has completely gone away from them. And if there's one saving grace about the statistics and like what's happened this year is that they do tend to play to their competition. And when they're playing better teams,
just get in the playoffs and then everything will be fixed.
Just get into the tournament. But
boy, is that a risky.
That's the thing. Like
it doesn't go about it.
It doesn't matter who they're playing. Like they suck against bad teams or they'll do well against good teams. That's the problem. It's internal. Like you got to, at that point, look in the mirror and say, what are we doing wrong? We're not losing to the good teams. We're not getting beat. We're beating ourselves. We're playing bad baseball. And that's why we're losing. It's not the fact that we're doing all the things right. We're actually playing bad baseball. And that's why we're losing. Like it's not even what they're saying. Like they're actually playing bad baseball. Yep. They're not one click away. They're not just one inning.
Did you hear him also call out the pitching? He's like, I think we're hitting well, but maybe a couple pitchers are scuffling. Yeah. Oh, who? I would love a report. Which pitchers are scuffling?
He would have probably answered the question if you asked him that because he's an idiot. But yeah, it's just top to bottom, man. Like the accountability thing, which we've been, I know, screaming about for a long time under Boone.
They're never going to get it under him.
No,
never. We're going to do positives and negatives from the series, but first, if there's one thing that we can all agree on, it's that congestion is the worst. Maybe you have a cold or just allergies. Whatever it is, congestion is a pain because it affects your sleep, your breathing, makes it hard to focus, and just generally puts you in a bad mood. I have a great product to tell you about if you are suffering from congestion. It's called Navage Nasal Care. Navage makes breathing easier. Navage uses smooth saline flow and gentle patented nasal suction to clear nasal passages. It's a device and it's so easy to use. You just hold it up to your nose and press start. Boom. It works fast. As little as 30 seconds, you're going to be breathing much easier. Just this past weekend, Leanne and I went to a wedding, and anytime it feels like you're in a large gathering these days, there's going to be some cold or something going around. So afterwards, we're just feeling a bit stuffy. You get that scratchy throat, stuffy nose. When we got home, we used the Navage device, and it provided amazing relief. My nose was like a smooth, empty hallway. Couldn't think of a better analogy. Let's not linger on that one. I've used it 3 times this past week just to make sure I am breathing clearly. I love this product, and I know you will too. Right now, our listeners can order a convenient Navage starter pack, including nose cleaner with batteries and 30 original salt pods. You got to use it with the salt pods too to get that extra clearage. Plus, you get a cleaning kit as a free gift with your order by going to navage.com/Bronx and using code Bronx. Again, navage.com/Bronx and use promo code Bronx for that starter pack plus the free cleaning kit. Navage is spelled Navage. Thank you very much to Navage. And also today we are brought to you by our good friends Game Time. If you're looking to attend an upcoming baseball game or really any sporting event, Game Time is the app for you. Game Time is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, meaning buying tickets to a baseball game on Game Time is faster and easier than ever. I love the app. You guys can probably recite what my favorite features are, but I love the flash deals because you can see what sections the best deals are in. If you're just looking for last minute tickets, that's a really great thing to do. All in pricing, so you can select this option. You're not hit with surprise fees at checkouts, and the seat views from inside the stadium. Always love to see what people are posting for the seat views. The app is streamlined, is easy to use, just a few taps and your purchase is done. The app allows for easy sharing of tickets with other people that you're going to the game with as well if you're going with friends and family. Game Time also has great tickets for concerts, comedy shows, theater, events, and much more. And the Game Time guarantee means you're always going to get the best price if you find tickets in the same row and same section for less money. Game Time just credits you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets today with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code Bronx for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Once again, create an account, redeem code Bronx for $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right. You want to start with the negatives or the positives?
Let's just get through the quick positives because there aren't very many of them, to be honest. From this series, some of the starting pitching was pretty good. And thank God, because if there's going to be a saving grace, I think, for the Yankees playoffs and the pitching staff, it's going to have to come from the starting rotation somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it's them starting the game or them in the bullpen. Probably both.
And you're going to have to maybe get an extra inning out of the starters that you're not currently getting, just to limit the workload on that bullpen.
100%. Lack of talent is going to put a lot of pressure on this team.
Yeah, so both Cole and Rodon were good. Cole went 6 innings and only allowed 1 hit, 1 run with 11 strikeouts. It was a 1 home run and 99 pitches.
Rodon. That was Rodon. Yeah.
What did I say? I meant Rodon on Tuesday. Cole was also good before he was pulled from the game, but he was just saying it was basically nothing, that it was just a non-issue. Monday pulled from the game with cramping.
Yeah. Thankfully, because, we all see him out there calling for the trainer. And then they kind of highlighted on the broadcast as well that he was like looking at his lower leg. So you're looking for like upper arm, shoulders, anything above the waist is probably not good.
But I think we've just been on high alert with Cole.
I'm on high alert with everybody because
but especially him, because
they're one click away from a disaster.
I thought they're 1 click away from winning a World Series.
Yeah, they're also 1 click away from complete disaster if you lose one of these starting pitchers.
Yeah, but with him, we talked about how he's at around 90 pitches every single game. And is there some lingering issue that we're just not being told about? Like, yes, he's good enough to pitch, but they don't want to push it and risk something worse. And then, which is fine. Like, if he's good enough to pitch and throw 90 pitches effectively, that's great. But at the same time, well, is he going to be on a 90 pitch limit in October? Well,
I mean, that is something that we're going to have to look at, for these next few starts before everything gets going here, because I mean, he threw 82 pitches. He was going very well. He probably would have stayed in the game. The game was what, 7? It was like 7-1 or something like that at that point, I think. And so the game was relatively in hand. And the calf obviously, knotted up. So he left the game and decided to pull himself out at that point, which probably the right move. Why try to chance anything? But he's at 82 pitches, and like you said, he's been pretty much limited to 90. So like, at what point is he going to get stretched out completely? Like, is that because now we've regressed in pitch count? And we got to keep an eye on that, because if he's not at 100 plus by the time playoffs are coming, and we're not seeing that more often, like I said this last episode, like this is a guy that we need to do, he needs to go 110, plus in the playoffs if the Yankees are going to have a real chance to limit exposure in that bullpen. Like Garrett Cole's going to have to take the ball and hold the ball for a long time in that game 1.
And to that point, is there something currently holding him back from going 105 or 110 pitches? And that might sound stupid, where it's like, well, if he can throw 92 pitches, why can't he throw 107 pitches? Could he throw 107 pitches? Yes. But what if they're worried about him aggravating something beyond right around 90 pitches? That's just as bad.
Yeah. So that's something I'm keeping an eye on just for the remainder of the month, obviously, to see how he is responding. But Rodon, again, he's had a couple blips on the radar, but again, came out and pitched really well, dotting his fastball. Command was there. He only gave up the one home run to Young, and got deep into the game. So like everything you saw from him, I mean, and this isn't a bad offensive Texas team by any means. They have a lot of firepower over there. So, I view this like maybe it's a sub 500 team and you're viewing the team as not great right now, but that's an offense that can put up a lot of runs. So I think it's no easy task to go against the Rangers bats.
Agree. Absolutely. Yeah. It's when he is on, quote unquote, you see why he can be so dominant.
Yeah.
Working quickly, working effectively, throwing strikes, like filling up the strike zone with high fat, like fastballs high in the zone, good slide. Like it's very easy to see why he can be so effective. It's just the moments he's not.
Just the moments he's not. Yeah. And I did say that he went deep in the game. For whatever reason, I was thinking that he went 7.
No, he went 6.
He went 6 in
That's
99.
deep for him. That's deep for him.
I know, but again, like those are the things that are going to be, if we go back to Verdugo's comments and say 1 inning is the only thing that's been happening to us every time. Well, that 1 inning happens like every game or every other game. So you can't just chalk it up as a once in a while thing. Like if the starter doesn't get into that 7th inning or through that 7th inning, now you have another 3 outs that you need to get from a bad bullpen.
Well, I'd have to imagine if the exact same game was playing out in the playoffs and Rodon's at 99 pitches through 6 innings and he's only allowed 1 hit, 1 run, which is the home run. He's coming back out for the 7th inning. How does he perform in that 7th inning? I don't know. We haven't seen it, right? They don't push their starters to do that in the regular season, which I get. You're not going to push your starters to do that 30 times out in the regular season, but they're going to do that in the playoffs because of how bad the bullpen is. If you had a big 3 bullpen,
I don't know. You get Garrett Cole. I'm sorry. You get Carlos Rodon at 99 pitches.
You're gonna.
It would not surprise me. It would not surprise me if Boone wouldn't make him come out for another inning. Yeah, if he's right there, right at 100. Are you
That's what I'm saying. You mean make him go out for? I'm agreeing.
No, I could absolutely see Boone saying no. He's at 100. He's not coming back out.
So you're turning it over to this complete trash heap.
Yeah, I think Carlos Rodon needs to tighten that up. Needs to, can we make it like 95?
Do you realize
if he's right around 100? I don't trust Boone at all to bring him back out by using his eye test and understanding that things are going well.
I don't trust Boone either. I'm so terrified that I'm actually sitting here saying I would rather have Rodon come out, pushing him past 100 pitches in the 7th inning of a playoff game when he's never done that in the regular season and has not been consistent for the Yankees. I would rather have that than this Yankees bullpen pitch a 7th, 8th, and 9th inning in a playoff game.
Yes, because you are playing with fire every single person that comes out of that bullpen. Every single person. There's not one person that you can say, I feel good, or the stats are good, or this is a good matchup. They're all bad.
Before we talk about Clay Holmes, though, and he's obviously the number 1 negative here. Let's talk about the bullpen, which is the number 2 negative. Since August 6th, 5.44 ERA ranks 26th in baseball. 4.39 FIP ranks 24th in baseball. 3.4 walks per 9 innings, 18th in baseball. 14 home runs allowed is the 18th most in Major League Baseball. Excuse me, 8th most in Major League Baseball. So they're actually okay on the home runs. Still 14 since August 6th. Seems like a lot. And we know that right now the Yankees are going to get, quote, creative with the closer spot, which is closer by committee. Love how on September 5th, we're now realizing Clay Holmes is not the answer. And you got to go closer by committee with 3.5 weeks before the playoffs.
The problem is there's no one out there that can do any better.
Out there. No, I agree.
It's not like we're saying closer by committee.
You have to do it, though. You can't keep going. We know Clay Holmes, he has the most blown saves in Major League Baseball. And you keep running him out there to blow more games. Like that's not the answer. That's the definition of insanity. Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result.
So to put some context to the numbers of walks as well, because I think that's a really interesting number to talk about, because I'm going to bring this up now and then we'll come back to it a little bit. But there's been a lot of talking. Who is this? Who's the closer going to be? If it's not by committee, is there someone out there that can do it? A lot of people keep saying Luis Gil. I get it. Like people see a young electric arm who can throw fast and say that guy can strike people out. Let's put him in there. The problem with this, and this is something that we've been saying for a while now, is that you can't put Luis Gil out on the pitcher's mound in a must-save situation, 1-run game, because he walks, and he's not actually at the top of the league.
He led when he went down with an injury. He had the most walks in Major League Baseball.
I'm reading it right now. He's not qualified on that list anymore because he doesn't have enough innings for the rest of the guys. The leader of the leader for most walks per 9 is at 3.7. The bullpen number that you just mentioned per 9 was 3.39 walks. So we're getting close to league leader of where the starters are. For just a little side note, Marcus Stroman is second in the league right now with the worst walks per 9. Okay, so leader is at 3.7. The number that Luis Gil is at 4.76 walks per 9 innings.
A full walk higher.
A full walk higher. This is a guy
You cannot do that.
They asked him about it, and he's like, I have a starter's mentality. Hasn't done it. Like, he was just giving honest answers about that. Ilya pulled the numbers on it. He hasn't pitched out of the bullpen since 2021 in AAA and barely did it. So there's no major league experience throwing out of the bullpen. He hasn't done it. Obviously he's coming back now, and has been, for the most part, a good starter. Yes, he's had struggles at times, but he's also been dominant and one of the best starters in baseball at times for stretches of time during this period. So I just don't see how you can possibly go there and trust Luis Gil. I think it's an unfair thing to do for him as well, to put him out in that spot. I don't think it's putting him in a position to succeed by any means. He's had the ability to get out of innings before while he's starting, He's starting clean innings. He's not working in a very different pressure cooker situation. Who knows how he reacts to that? But I just don't think it's the right answer. For me, if we're looking at like what we're going to be creative with, I've been saying this, like a guy like Nestor Cortez, to me, I have more trust with. I just trust him more. He's got the body of work. He's got the composure. I feel like he's got the ability to do things. He can strike people out if he needs to. But there's no great answer.
There's no great answer. And I guess if you're playing that scenario out, who's got the better chance at just having a dominant 6-inning start in the playoffs? It's also Luis Hill.
100% it is. Yeah.
But so I agree. There's no clear, hey, put this guy in the closer role because he's been so effective. That's our answer. So I think they're going to, like Blake said, play matchups. Depending on what's the matchup next inning. Who's coming up in the 9th inning? A couple lefties coming up? Okay. You might see Tim Hill pitch in the 9th inning.
I legitimately might have the most confidence in him at this point right now. But that's crazy.
Do you believe that a team needs to have a closer, meaning one guy who they're relying on to get the last 3 outs of the game in a World Series championship run?
Do I think it's a necessity? I'm sure we could pull examples for.
There's been countless examples over
that
the past.
Has won without.
Yep.
Yes.
Past years. I mean, look what the Nationals did out of the bullpen. Look what the Astros did out of the bullpen with their starters. And it wasn't like, oh, this starter is always coming. Like you saw the Giants win with Bumgarner coming out of the bullpen and getting the last.
Lance McCullers came out for Houston.
And you saw
did extremely well.
Strasburg get big outs for the Nationals out of the bullpen. So like you've seen it happen. So people always point to that, like, well, it's happened. Yes,
but here's the problem with that. The problem with saying that is that those guys were brought in at different situations and later in
the World Series or it's Game 7 ALCS, not starting from Game 1 in the playoffs, DS round Game 1 or wild card round 1.
For the majority of those situations, I know there are exceptions, but the majority of those situations, they were not designated as relief pitchers. They were an available arm where they believed like this guy can get 3 outs because he's the best arm we have on the team right now.
This is our season. Today's our season.
I don't count those. I think those are different.
I agree. I don't count those,
guess
but
what?
That's what people point to as examples.
Okay, but if Garrett Cole's not starting that game in that same situation, Garrett Cole's coming out as well. So
he didn't come out of the bullpen for the Astros in 2018.
You're right, but that was
2019. Sorry, 2019.
And that was a decision that was looked at. But you know for this particular case, what the Yankees are working with.
Yeah,
that guy's coming out of the bullpen. Like if he's not starting the game, if he has any, Garrett Cole's going to say he's going to demand to come into a game.
If there's a Game 5 or a Game 7 of a deciding game of a series, and Garrett Cole didn't start that game, and they need 3 outs, he's coming out of the bullpen. I agree, but you can't say that's our solution in the playoffs. That's a one-off scenario.
100%. That's my point, is that so when you're looking at what can the solution be, it has to be by committee. It's got to be by, who do you feel is the best? And frankly, like you could still go back down to this, go down the list of everybody in the bullpen right now. And as like crazy as this sounds, Clay Holmes probably has the best opportunity.
That's
the best stuff went on.
Thank you. I was gonna try to lead the conversation there by going down the list of guys, because what we're also asking with a matchups by committee type scenario is we are saying, Aaron Boone, you have to do more work than ever in these playoff games for bullpen decisions.
Now the decision's in your hands, right?
Like, not good.
Yeah.
But yes, eventually this is what they're going to do. They're going to take the next 2 weeks to do by committee. They're 5 guys are going to get 9th inning work over the next 2 weeks. And eventually, assuming Clay Holmes doesn't literally just give up grand slams every time he goes out for the next 2 weeks, he's going to work his way back into the closer role.
Well, it's because there's no option. That's
because
the reason.
There's no option.
It's because there's no option. And when you're looking at a guy who can get strikeouts and make guys miss bats, like it is him. If he actually can throw the 2-seamer with, the way he's supposed to, then he can do that. But he can't mechanically repeat what he needs to repeat to actually be a good pitcher right now.
I think
it's not just the home runs and the grand slams. It's all the bullshit happens before that.
He can't get batters out. He gets 2 strikes on a batter, and it's 7 more pitches of fouls off and just missing off the plate, only to walk a guy. But I think as much of an issue of there's no clear answer in the bullpen, so Clay Holmes is just the de facto guy. It's got to be so stressful for a bullpen to go into every playoff game with guys on there being like, I might pitch in the 5th inning. I might pitch in the 7th inning. I might be the closer tonight. I feel like that has an unquantifiable negative effect on a bullpen.
Well, especially when you're looking at a bullpen that doesn't have a lot of talent.
When they're all garbage.
So yeah, that's stressful. That's stressful because they're all shitting their pants because they're not very good. So
now here's the one possible exception. Like, what if one of these guys catches lightning in the bottle, a la Dennis Santana for the Pittsburgh Pirates, where he's given up like 1 hit in the last 13 innings or something crazy? Like, do you think if someone say
you get a momentum closer?
Say Tommy Kahnle over the next 3 weeks is just the best Tommy Kahnle we've ever seen. Could he momentum his way into the closer spot for October?
Yeah, I think he could.
Right.
I think anything is on the table. And unfortunately, all of these things are reliant on a decision by Aaron Boone.
Well, the in-game decisions are obvious. In-game, who's going to come in out of the bullpen right now are definitely on Aaron Boone. But I don't think he's the only guy making a decision on going into the playoffs. Like, who's in the bullpen? What are their roles going to be? Who's going to be the closer?
No, but he's also the guy. He is the guy that says, Tommy Kahnle's been great for us the last 2 weeks. And he's going to be our closer for the playoffs.
But like, I don't even know if I hate that. Like, you might have to do that. That might be your best option at this point. Is just ride the hot hand.
It could be Tim Hill. It could be anybody by name.
Here's the other
because
problem.
Aaron Boone will just look at something and say, this is what's going to happen.
Here's the other problem we haven't mentioned yet. Do you have confidence in any of these guys to get hot?
No. The only one, and he's probably been the most frustrating for me lately, is Mark Leinart, only because I haven't seen him for an extended period of time. But
he might not be on the playoff roster.
Like maybe that guy can figure something out and do it, but I haven't seen it. Maybe there was something in Chicago that got people to think that he was good.
He had a 4.5 ERA in Chicago.
I don't know what they saw because this is
I'll tell you, we already talked about this. They saw strikeout numbers, but he had a 4.5 ERA in Chicago. So we were thinking, 4.5 ERA with good strikeout numbers, good FIP. He's just getting unlucky. No, he's just going to strike guys out, but also give up a lot of home runs. So he's just going to give up runs.
The two true options, strikeout or home run. That's Mark Leinart Jr.
So I agree. Right now they're going to go like, let's play matchups. Maybe someone gets hot. Probably hoping Clay Holmes can right the situation and have a good showing over the next few weeks, so they at least have some confidence to put him back into the closer role. And I would imagine if they re-anoint him the closer, it's not going to literally be for game 1 of the playoffs, because boy, if he doesn't close the game between now and then he's on the mound in a save situation in the first game of the playoffs, talk about pressure.
I don't think they're gonna. I don't think that Boone. I mean, maybe he is this foolish, but I would be very surprised if he even came out and said that anybody is the closer moving forward. That they're every single time they're going to go at it. But
we could figure.
We know in the back of his head who's going to be coming out for that last time. But when you're looking up and down for confidence too, like this is a team that I know. Osgood just came and pitched first time out, terrible, right? Give up a home run, not good. And when he came back out, Efros. What did I say? Osgood. I'm having a seizure.
Is this another guy I haven't heard of? That just is Osgood the answer to the Yankees' problems?
When I said it, I'm like, I know that's not right.
But it took me like 10 seconds to be like, wait, which one's Osgood?
Scott Efros was bad the first time.
What's Osgood's first name?
Scott, but had a clean outing in his last outing, inning and a third came out. He was the only guy that came out there and had a clean outing. And then he gets optioned immediately for the Luis Gil spot. Meanwhile, you're looking at right-handers, left-handers, like, okay, you need to keep a lefty up, even though we've had bad pitching from lefties. Tim Hill's been okay. I think like he needs to be just the lefty guy at this point. But Ron Marinaccio still on the team. Like he hasn't been a good relief pitcher for like 3 years. Like he's he came up at one point and had a good little stretch. But that, I mean, I'm talking like
maybe they just feel
it was like
bad
3
for
years
him
ago.
because Domingo Herman shit all over him when he was getting sent.
And
down
even
to
when
the
he's
minors.
walking off the field, like I don't know if you caught this, but like the camera was like right on his face, and he just had like the side eye going on. Like, is anybody seeing what I just did? Did anybody just notice what I did? You know, the fact that we saw such a small glimpse of Scott Efros, nicknamed Osgood. That's his nickname. You didn't know that he was a goalie in college for the UNH Wildcats, and his name was Osgood.
Larry Osgood. I feel like he's a Larry.
And so yeah, we get no glimpse of him, and then he's sent down to AAA practically immediately after he does have a good showing, and Marinaccio still up there. It's just I don't understand what rhyme or reason. Again, you're like give him the guy that you acquired to make your team better when you did acquire him at the trade deadline a year and a half ago, and yet you still, you're not even going to give him like an opportunity to right the ship, even after he did throw, a good inning in a third. I just don't understand.
Yeah, I don't know what.
Because maybe he's the answer. Maybe he's the answer, and we'll just never know.
But he might not be. But I don't know what the point of calling him up for a couple games is.
No, it's like, where's the evaluation? Like you just said, I came across an article that and I had to Google it to see if there were two Dennis Santanas in the league. I'm like, are there multiple Dennis Santana?
This can't be real.
This can't be it. No, the guy they called him a force, a stabilizing force in the bullpen for the Pittsburgh Pirates. I'm like, nah, yeah, sure as shit. Same guy.
I know, but at the same time, like, would it surprise you if over his next 7 appearances, he gives up 13 runs? Like,
no, but it just shows that you, like, what's the evaluation process here? Like,
Dennis Santana was terrible with the Yankees.
I know, but why?
Over ample opportunities.
Why?
I don't know.
Why is he good? Why is he better there over an extended period of time than what he can do here? Why?
I know we like to shit all over the Yankees for, when a player leaves, they always get better, blah, blah, blah. But like,
immediately. This is immediately. I mean, I guess you could say the same thing about Tim Hill and the White Sox. The White Sox are like, oh, God damn it, Tim Hill. He's been so good.
But like, sometimes I think that might just be unexplainable randomness in baseball. And like, Dennis Santana seems to be one of those categories. Like, I watched him pitch a bunch for the Yankees. He's not good.
It came at a time where I'm watching in this bullpen, just every single person in there, besides the guy that just got optioned back to AAA, pitch non-competitively, and then this guy's out there dominating, who used to be part of that, no-name bullpen that was up.
It's just the amount of base runners every time this bullpen is on the mound. It's just it's so unsustainable for the playoffs. They're not going to get through 3 rounds, 2 rounds, never mind 1 round. It's impossible with this bullpen.
So that's the thing. Like over the next series, and I know we'll talk about this we got guys coming back, right? Luis Gil's coming back, Clark Schmidt's coming back. And so with Nestor Cortez there as well, that's 6 starters.
Yeah.
Something's gonna have to give.
That's just one bullpen piece though.
Yeah, but maybe that guy who in the past, if you remember the last however many years, the Yankees have had guys who can go 2 innings, and even you go back to Chad Green, who they needed him to go 2 innings every time he was in there, he would just skip the days that he would go, but he ate up 2 innings, and there was a formula there where I know they had more talent, but at least they had a guy eating 2 innings so that you didn't have to roll the dice with another person out there.
Right. So maybe
whoever they anoint, whoever this person is, whether it's Schmidt, Cortez, Heel, whomever it is, that has to go out there and be the bullpen guy for the foreseeable future as they get into the playoffs. It's going to have to be a 2-inning guy. They're going to have to use that person, but also be able to remove an inning from the rest of the bullpen by using this person.
Right. All right. Specifically though, on Clay Holmes, 11th blown save of the season, walk-off grand slam, single, 2 walks to load the bases, and then grand slam immediately. I love how Boone said he's just been a little off. It's just been a little off. Just a tick.
And you go back even to the inning before that, ground ball to LeMahieu. I mean, I don't know what the deal is with that man, but LeMahieu can't play baseball
with
right
Canley
now.
on the mound. It's a chopper. Apparently, he lost it in the lights or something, and it just he
It just
clanged
clunked
off of his glove.
Yeah.
And then Canely tried to make a play. Obviously, it was too late. But also then later in that inning, Glaber just not getting down on it was a hard hit line drive, low liner ground ball, but just trying to backhand it, not getting down, not getting in front of the ball. Like, that's little league stuff. Get in front of the ball.
That was I know people are making a thing of that play. Like, yeah, he should be down on that ball, and that is most likely a double play if he comes up with it. It's not the easiest play, but
It's not the easiest play. That's a ball you hope your second baseman can make.
Yeah, I agree. So, I mean, but even like at this point, you can't have LeMahieu. LeMahieu's made a lot of
he's unplayable,
bad mistakes out in first base, but
he's unplayable
4-1
offensively, obviously, but defensively he's unplayable at first base.
Was it 4-1 at that point? You're getting a runner on. Rizzo in the eighth inning. Rizzo come in, play defense, solidifies that. That wasn't an option for them, and again creates more issues.
DJ's off the playoff roster at this point. You can't. What is the point of him on the playoff roster? You can find people way more versatile than him. Oswaldo Cabrera needs to be on the playoff roster over DJ LeMahieu.
I agree. It's crazy, but they're gonna. The only reason they'll have to have him on there is to have someone as a second first baseman. I guess I don't know.
No,
you can put him on though if there's an injury.
That is not valuable enough.
I agree. Cabrera can go over there and play if needed, but
probably as well as DJ's played. That's the thing.
DJ's played bad. He's been bad. He's been very bad.
And so we talk about a game under 500 over the last 81 games, which basically dates back to June 1st, which is the exact time Clay Holmes started melting down in games and has all these blown saves since. Like, it's the correlation between the bullpen just completely crapping itself, specifically Clay Holmes blowing all of these games, is the exact time frame that this team has played 500 baseball. He blows just half of those games. They're 5 games over 500 in that span, and they've got a 5.5 game lead over Baltimore right now.
It's crazy. Yeah. Those are wins in the win-loss column that are just removed.
Yeah.
From the lack of conversion by one dude. Yeah.
We got one more negative to talk about, but first we are brought to you today by Raycon's Everyday Earbuds, which provide audio quality that's just as good as the big guys, but for half the price. And the exciting thing is Raycon just launched their upgraded model of the best-selling Everyday Earbuds. I love these things. They have must-have features like 32-hour battery life, quick charge function, allowing you to get 90 minutes of battery life in just 10 minutes of charging, ergonomic design to fit almost any ear shape with adjustable tips so that if you've got a larger lobe or a smaller lobe, you can adjust it there. Active noise cancellation, 3 customizable sound styles, weatherproof and sweat resistant if you use them to exercise, and earbud tap functions to reduce discomfort when using them. Raycon also offers a 30-day happiness guarantee, so there's absolutely no excuse for you not trying these out to see if you like them. I was in the city earlier today on a commute. I don't commute much anymore, but it's really nice to have earbuds that you can pop in. They fit into your pocket nicely in the little charging station, right? So you can charge the charging station, which then charges the earbuds. So when they're in your pocket, they're charging, but it's nice to just be able to pop those in. If I need to focus on something like, what subway do I need to take? Cause I feel like such a non-city person after I've not living there for so long. Just really, really convenient. Go to buyraycon.com/Bronx today to get 15% off your Raycon order plus free shipping. You get 15% off and free shipping at buyraycon.com/Bronx, buyraycon.com/Bronx. One more thing to talk about before we continue to talk about the Yankees. And that is called Throwbacks, which is a new podcast hosted by former Entourage star and Yankees fan Jerry Ferrara, aka Turtle, and former Heisman Trophy winning quarterback Matt Leinart. Throwbacks launches today as we're recording this, Thursday, September 5th. I cannot wait for the show because Matt was one of the faces of an iconic college football team. Jerry was a face of an iconic TV series. Matt has amazing stories from his playing days. Jerry has you covered on what it's like starring on a TV show everyone's talking about. And these guys have a really great dynamic because, Jerry's just going to come off as that diehard fan. I'd be curious his thoughts on the Yankees bullpen right now. And Matt can speak to just being a former player. They're also going to have access to really awesome guests. So definitely go check out this podcast every Thursday of Throwbacks. You can find it on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever else you listen to podcasts. I hope you enjoy it because I know I will as well.
Ferrara's a big Knicks fan as well, and Leinart's actually kind of funny.
Wasn't Ferrara?
He's pretty funny on Instagram.
Ferrara, didn't he have isn't he part of an esports team? I think he has like a big into esports.
Yeah, I think so. There's something about with the Knicks actually.
Yeah. All right, the last negative, Judge and Soto just in a slump at the same time. So last 9 games, which was since Judge's last home run. So again, I know Susan hates the pace, but that's exactly why we have the pace, because you don't hit a home run for 9 days. Guess what? You're not going to hit 62 home runs anymore. 177 batting average.
His last 9 day pace is actually 0. He's stuck. Yeah, he's stuck at 52.
Yeah,
51.
so 177 batting average, 15 strikeouts in that span, just a 552 OPS. I know Soto went 3 for 3 in the last game against Texas, but in those last 13 games, he's hitting 235, 328 with a 739 OPS. I'm not worried about either of these guys. They're 2 of the best hitters in baseball. But this is an absolute fact. If those 2 guys are not on fire in the playoffs, they're not going to score runs in the playoffs. So get the slump out of the way now, boys, because you cannot be slumping come October.
To the credit of the rest of the team, 8 runs, 4 runs, 6 runs. So it's not like they weren't putting up any runs.
But you know what I'm talking about.
100%, because everything's elevated in the playoffs. So yes, they need to be hot. And Giancarlo Stanton picked up a lot of that load as well.
He's been great.
He could have been a positive, extremely good. Absolutely. And he's just missed a couple of even yesterday he hits that bullet when they had this like. The comeback was actually starting to piss me off, to be honest, last night. Because they were down by so much, and Grisham hits the grand slam, and then I'm like, oh come on, we're not going to make them feel good about that. Like this is a bad game. Like they lost this game, and now Texas is melting down in the 9th inning. We got like Grisham was hitting for Soto, I think, right, and then someone. The new kid came up and was hitting for Judge, got his first hit of his career, Duke something. And then
Duke Ellis, right?
Duke Ellis, which is a good name. It's a good baseball name, but we're like, what's happening here? And then Stanton comes up and just misses, hits a rocket that was caught. It very well could have gotten over. I think it would have hit the fence and still gone over, but he's been really good and locked in. And we know what he does. He could get locked in playoffs. And when he's locked in, he's dangerous, but he's definitely, put the team on his back a little bit. And Glaber's still been good. Volpe's been hitting. So the rest of the team has been doing it. Jazz obviously has been a shining star for.
Did we forget to talk about him?
Yeah, we did a little bit. There was a weird mix up, and I went back and watched this like 5 times with him rounding third base. And this was in the same game that Clay Holmes gave up the grand slam. It was a couple innings before, right? And he missed a sign, it looked like, that was being thrown up for scoring, but it was also not very clear. So I just think there was a miscommunication. I think there needs to be a more emphatic like send sign. But yeah, obviously a miscommunication. If that run scores, then you're looking at maybe a different scenario for Clay Holmes as well. Who knows? But he's been really good.
Jazz has been great since they acquired him.
So when you're looking at the lineup, like at least they are hitting. For the most part, they're picking up the slack when their 2 boys are not doing when they're slumping, because they're allowed to do that every once in a blue moon.
Sure,
but they have to show up when they're doing well too. And frankly, like this offense is going to have to carry this team.
Yeah, I mean to Verdugo's point, they've scored enough runs to win these games. It's the pitching that has not. They go back to the last 2 against St. Louis that they lost, pitching meltdown. And then the games they lost this week in Texas was pitching meltdowns.
So double down on the offense and call up Dominguez.
Yeah, so let's talk about Dominguez, because there was an article in The Athletic that the Yankees are very emphatically saying the Yankees are not manipulating top prospect Jason Dominguez's service time, because he has already amassed over 60 days of major league service time. He earned 31 days in 2023 and then started 2024 on the MLB injured list. And he recovered from surgery while on the MLB injured list, which is MLB service time. So that whole service time thing, as far as preserving yes, they could still preserve his rookie status, but for service time, which in my opinion is more important because that's when the guy's going to be a free agent down the road, they've already missed that.
And again, this is what we've been hitting on. This is not like if it were that, then I'd almost feel better about it because the Yankees were like looking at something where they were going to try to make their team better. But it's not that. It's not even, and like that's a ridiculous thing in this context. But the reason they're not doing it is because they cannot say no to playing Alex Verdugo. That's the reason. And
what do you think of
that's a bigger issue.
What do you think of our guy Neil's hypothesis there? Did you see that in text today?
No.
They're not just benching Verdugo because that could potentially conflict with their backup plan next year of not getting Soto and then having to pivot and sign Verdugo.
I think Neil goes down some dark paths to stay under a stone of
that is a potentially real path though. That
it's not a real path because Alex Verdugo is not going to be on this team next year.
You say that.
I say that. Yes, I say that.
But if they don't sign Soto, they need an outfielder.
Okay. Jason Dominguez
and
is going to be playing.
They'll need two outfielders. So they'll look at Verdugo's April, which was good, and they'll look at his last couple of weeks, which have been pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, his last couple of weeks have been okay. There's not been a lot.
What is he hitting? He's hitting like 280 something over his last 35 at-bats.
What's his slugging there? It can't be
probably
high. It's
probably 285. Yeah, because he's hitting fist bloop singles over the drawn in infield. But
yeah, I don't. I think that what they don't want to play Dominguez every day for some reason. I can't tell you what that reason is. I don't know what that reason is. There is no other person outside of that organization that has sanity in any capacity that will say that don't bring up the kid and play Alex Verdugo, the guy that is apparently beat up according to the manager, not by him. So they're not on the same page there. Doesn't run out balls, is nothing to look at as an offensive prowess for this team. And then you got a guy who is the number one prospect in the organization, the most exciting thing that could possibly happen to this team, a young, insanely athletic freak that could be a crazy good player on this team who had one stretch last year that was extremely good in the major leagues. Why they wouldn't want to play that guy who has 5 tools and has the ability to do all of the things, I have no idea. And who just hit a home run last night and has been mashing in AAA and is clearly beyond an injury that was keeping him there for an extended period of time. I don't understand it. I don't.
It's because, like you said, they're not prepared to say we're going to trust Dominguez as our left fielder into the playoffs, and they know if they bench Verdugo even temporarily, they will lose him entirely.
Well, again, you got to put your best product on the field. And if there's no possible way they could come out with a straight face and take a lie detector test, a polygraph that says Alex Verdugo gives us the best chance to win, I can't believe it. I just cannot believe it.
Just think about.
But that is the reason. But that's the crazy reason. That is the real reason why Jason Dominguez is not here.
Right. That's the lane that Cashman said is not open.
Mm-hmm.
So you mentioned they obviously made room on the roster for Hill, and Clark Schmidt's also going to be back. So Friday, Hill's going to pitch. Saturday, Clark Schmidt's going to pitch. Sunday, Garrett Cole will pitch, and Nestor is going to piggyback either Hill or Schmidt. Does that make you think that is why do you think they're choosing Nestor to be piggybacking here and not the other way around?
I think Nestor's the only one that has the flexibility you can trust to do different things. That's it. Nestor's a real one. He's the guy. He's the guy that he'll just go out there and do whatever you ask him to do and probably do it well.
They're like, we can't possibly mess up Nestor Cortes.
Yeah, that truthfully, he will go out and do a thing, and it does lead me down the path of they're thinking that potentially he is the guy that would go into the bullpen. I think it's either him or Schmidt, and if Schmidt comes out and pitches well, then you stretch him out and you keep him in there. Because I think, again, I know Schmidt's pitched out of the bullpen in the past, but Nestor Cortes being a lefty also, he can get lefties and righties out. I just trust him.
I know Stroman had been good recently, but yesterday, that is more of the Marcus Stroman we saw for a good chunk of the season. Maybe not quite that bad because I was just looking at his final line. 9 hits in 3 2/3 innings, 5 runs, but that sort of just grinding through 4+ innings so many base runners every single inning. Maybe not a ton of runs, but just you look up at the box score and he's got 93 pitches and it's 1 out in the 4th inning, and there's been 11 base runners.
Yeah. That's the thing, man. With him, he gives up, like I said, he's second in walks per 9 right now in the league, not including Heel. So if you include Heel in there, he's 3rd. So he's giving up a lot of walks. He gives up hits. I don't know where he lands current in the playoffs. That said, the bullpen's doing the same thing. So you're going to run into a potential question is, do you trust, name it, Scott Efros, Ron Marinaccio, name one more righty that's out there that could potentially go into that spot? Or do you roll the dice and you throw a guy like Marcus Stroman out in the bullpen and hope that he can get through an inning at a higher capacity than these guys? Use some adrenaline and get out there and pitch. Like, frankly, I would probably trust Marcus Stroman to go out and get 1 inning over those guys.
Well, do you think Marcus Stroman is definitely locked for the rotation in the playoffs?
No, I don't. That's why I'm saying that you're going to either leave him off or he's going to go in the bullpen, and one of those other guys are not going to go in the bullpen. So there's a potential opportunity where you have 2 of your starters out there.
Well, I think 2 starters would be in the bullpen regardless, because
one of them just not out there. Yeah.
No, they're not going to leave him off the playoff roster, because at that point it's like, who's the more talented pitcher? Right.
That's the question. Yeah.
Yeah. But if you're looking at the guys who are, like, obviously we know Cole is a lock for the rotation. They're not going to move Rodon to the bullpen either. So those 2 guys are locked in the
1
rotation.
and 2. Those are the 1 and 2 starters for the playoffs.
So then you've got between Stroman, Hill, Schmidt, and Cortez, 2 of those guys need to start.
Right.
And it's anyone's game at this point.
Correct. And I think we default at this point. Again, it really does depend. It is anyone's game. I think it is 100% a competition.
I think Stroman has the lead in the clubhouse because of his veteran status, but that's it.
Yeah. Okay. So then I think, and you mean Stroman and Luis Heel? I'm putting Luis Heel in there too. I think disaster would have to happen for Luis Heel not to be in there.
Yeah. I mean, assuming he's fully healthy. Yeah.
Yeah. So then you're looking at a potential, if 2 of those guys are going to be, you got to keep one of them stretched out, right? You can't just put them in the bullpen and say they're bullpen arms now in case something happens.
But if you're talking about a multi-inning guy, you could say, okay, tonight Nestor's giving us 2 innings, tomorrow Stroman, or tomorrow Schmidt's giving us 2 innings.
Yeah.
Because they're going to need that. They're going to need that every night.
If the guys are going 6 innings, yes, they are.
That's the only guy that might go more than 6 is Cole. Let's be real here.
Yeah. No, it's not an easy, there's not a great solution here. There's not. They're going to have to mix and match and figure out something.
They're still playing 9-inning baseball games, right? This is still 9-inning. Manfred hasn't changed that rule in the playoffs yet. There's still 9-inning games. Yeah. They're going to need 2 innings.
I know he's sucked for pretty much every single time he's gone onto the pitcher's mound as a starting pitcher, but I still would like to see what Will Warren could do out of the bullpen.
Nah, he's not.
Dude,
not
I just want to see
major leagues.
I just want to see arm talent. I just want to see arm talent in the bullpen. Give it to me over Ron Marinaccio, because Ron Marinaccio ain't it. So just let me see that. Just let me see it. Go. He needs to go to AAA for the next week and a half and pitch out of the bullpen. Just figure it out. See what happens.
Last bit of notes is what Wells is expected to be back playing on Friday against the Cubs after being hit in the hand on Monday. X-rays were negative. Looked painful though.
It did.
Playing the Cubs, Friday afternoon game. I like that. Start the weekend off early with a little Friday afternoon baseball. Cubs tradition at Wrigley Field. It's fun.
Yeah, they're all 2:20 games, aren't they?
Are they? I know Friday's an afternoon game. I don't know about.
I think they all are.
And our guy Sterling is confirmed coming out of retirement for the playoff run.
I felt like I saw that coming a mile away. You know, when he got the taste of it back in there, he's like, I can do this for a short amount of time.
So here's the thing. The day he retired, he said, I don't mind calling the games. I just don't like the travel. So
but he's doing both.
But why doesn't he just do home games?
Because it's the playoffs.
No, I'm saying for this season, next season. If he likes calling the games and he can get to Yankee Stadium, just do the home games. You don't have to do the road games.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he doesn't like even going to the home games as much as like that whole day of prep and getting in there and doing the whole thing. And
yeah, give him a microphone in his living room. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Let him call it from the TV. Nothing's going to be different. It's not going to be any more accurate.
It might be
more accurate.
It might be more accurate.
Throw the game on, it'll be on like
it might be
a 5-second delay.
More delayed, but we don't know that on radio. I don't know. I'm just hearing them in real time.
Patch him in. Give him a live line that's without a delay. I'm sure someone could figure that out.
I'm excited for that though.
Yeah, it'll be good to have him back. They need to figure out some better solutions going into next year though.
All right, we've got a couple of mailbag questions before we wrap up here. The first one is from Matthew Sterling. He says, "Hey guys, long time, first time. The question is in regards to Glaber. I think the majority of Yankees fans are ready to move on. The inconsistent offense since the league unjuiced the balls, the mental lapses on defense and base running, and a down season and a walk year all point to parting of the ways. All said, he's had a decent second half, thanks to a solid August. At this time, he's slashing 264, 348, 386 with a 111 WRC plus in the second half, which isn't too far off from his career second half WRC plus of 116. Matthew says, at this point, I'm starting to worry we're about to see Cashman make another perplexing offseason move by bringing him back on a prove-it type deal. All that said, are the Yankees buying their own BS of bad luck as an excuse for extended periods of bad play? And what are the odds we see Glaber back in pinstripes in 2025? I feel like that's a two-part question, and we already touched on the just like, bad luck, bad bounce to the ball, crapshoot. We've got this. One little tick off. Like, yes, I think that's the Yankees' attitude every season.
Yes, it is. Until someone comes in here and changes the culture of this team, that's it. And unfortunately, they're going to do it right. At the end of with the window without Soto and all these things.
Odds that the Yankees bring Glaber back, like percentage, I would say is 35%.
I'm giving it 50-50.
Oh my God.
And I don't think it's a prove it deal either, because I don't think Glaber's going to get
from a hot 3 weeks against trash teams in August. You're ready to give him a multi-year contract?
No, I'm just telling you what I think he's going to get on the open market. I think he's going to get a 2 to 3. I think he's going to get a 2 to 3 year deal somewhere on the open market. And wouldn't surprise me if the Yankees brought him back.
Oh my God.
It would. I think there's a much higher percentage of Glaber coming back than Verdugo. I'll go that way too.
I agree with that.
I think.
What do you think's a higher probability? Juan Soto not coming back or Glaber coming back?
A higher probability?
Right.
I hate this question.
Like, do you think Soto signing with the Yankees is greater than 50-50?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so then you think there's a higher chance Soto's back with the Yankees than Glaber's back with the Yankees?
Yes, but again, like this is just trying to be a sane person talking here in the common sense department. You would be an absolute fool if you were the New York Yankees brass to not back up the Brinks truck for Juan Soto and understand what he does to this team, to this fan base, to the franchise, everything. Like you 1000% bring this guy back for every reason, not just 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 reasons, all the reasons. There's so many that you can lay out and how he's worth every penny in today's world that there's not really a compelling answer to say no to that, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. I would say 3-4 weeks ago, I would have said there's a 10% chance the Yankees bring Glaber back because he had been so bad all season. And that was around the time he was getting benched and stuff. So I guess maybe more than 3 weeks ago. But yeah, I agree. This past month has risen those odds. And I could see if he finishes strong, the Yankees just looking at it with rose-colored glasses saying, that's the real Glaber, and ignoring everything else for the past 4 seasons, which has been bad. He's been bad for 4 seasons.
Well, he's not been bad for the full 4 seasons. Glaber Torres in this, I know it's a short sample size, but it's what we're looking at right now in the leadoff spot has looked good. He's working the count. He's doing all the things you want him to do as a leadoff hitter.
Yes,
he's getting on base. He's getting hits. He's not striking out a ton. Like he's doing everything you want him to do.
We've seen it before.
I'm just saying, in the leadoff spot for an extended period of time now, it's been a month, not even a month, but getting close to it. He's been good. And I know the jury, we'll wait for the rest of the season. We'll see what happens for the rest of the season and you know, make a more clear judgment on a larger sample size. But there's nothing to say right now that he hasn't been, you can't argue that he's been, that he hasn't been good in the leadoff spot, because he has.
While I would be annoyed no matter how Gleyber Torres is back with the Yankees, whether it's a prove me deal or a long-term contract, I'm going to be annoyed if he's a Yankee next year. I could at least understand the rationale if it is a prove me deal, especially if they don't have a clear answer at second base. They could say, well, this prove me deal is more value than just trying to go out and fill second base otherwise. At least I can follow the logic there. I'm not going to be able to find the logic to a multi-year contract for Gleyber Torres.
Yeah, I'm not saying that. I just think that's what he's going to get on the open market, especially if he continues this hot second half.
Yankees should say
he'll be able to position it as a 2 to 3 year deal.
And the Yankees should say, congratulations on that multi-year deal with the Kansas City Royals or the Chicago White Sox or the Seattle Mariners.
Because frankly, if I'm Gleyber Torres and I am finishing my walk year hot, and you know, depending on what happens in the playoffs, all these things, like, you better cash in right now, right now.
James Greenspan says, hi guys, I know the Martian didn't get called up, but now that Rizzo is back, don't the Yankees have other options to get Verdugo out of left field? Jazz could go there with Cabrera at third or vice versa. Why do they insist on continuing to run him out there when he's been statistically a bottom 5 outfielder the entire season? I honestly don't understand what they're thinking. He's a free agent at the end of the year. It's not like he's a guy they're committed to. They're in a tight division race, and this guy is awful in all caps. We already touched on this, but yeah, I don't know. There's an easy lane if they really want it, and there's just not.
There's no legitimate rationale for this decision. There's just not.
Okay. That's going to wrap it up. Anything? You want to do some more housekeeping?
Cubs, man. Got some games against the Cubs. Cubs just came off of a no-hitter, a multi-pitching no-hitter, multi-pitcher no-hitter. So we'll see. Day games, Wrigley Field. That's fun.
Wrigley's fun. I've been there once. Really fun.
I've never been to Wrigley.
Should go.
Need to go.
It's great. Seats are tiny.
Yeah. It looks awesome.
Fun.
I've been outside it. I've been to the bars outside it, but every time I've been to Chicago, for whatever reason, they have either it's not been baseball season or they were not playing at home.
So you went to the bars when there was no game?
Yeah, I just went to like check out outside, like, you know, the Wrigleyville area.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, that's gonna wrap it up. We'll talk to you after the Cubs series.